What's up, YouTube? My name's Mr. Lime SC, and welcome to Lingo for the new people to Diablo 2. Now, with Diablo 2 Resurrected coming out, there's going to be a lot of people coming back to the game or coming to the game for the first time, which I think is awesome. I love having you guys here. Welcome back and or to Diablo 2 Resurrected. But with that being said, as is with any game, you're going to have new lingo, new things that are specifically said just in that game. And I don't want you guys walking in and just being like, I have absolutely no clue what any of these words mean. Somebody help me. So I'm going to be going through and trying to just talk about each specific little piece that I think are at least the most important 30 things or 40 things you might hear. So we can go ahead and get started now. Now, the first one you're going to hear is Shako. This is probably the only item in the game that is referred to by its base type rather than its actual name. So every other thing that you'll hear is Hawkmail or Enigma, whatever it is, right? I mean, obviously Enigma is a rune word, but like any other unique, you're going to hear the name of it. They would say Harlequin Crest. But for some reason with Shako, people just don't like saying Harlequin Crest or something, so we call it a Shako. So if somebody says, "Oh, I really want Shako," and you find a Shako, but it's a blue item, they're not looking for that. They're only looking for the unique version Harlequin Crest Shako. It does sound cooler. Another one you might see is the word Aussie. This is for Oculus, right here. I can try and make that like a little bit bigger. It is a weapon for the sorceress. Let me make it a little bigger. A weapon for the sorceress. And so Aki or Aussie, people will call it, but this is what they are meaning. It's a pretty standard, decent weapon. It's not best in slot all the time, but it's still a really good one that you can find at like Nightmare Mephisto even, which is nice. Now the third one that you'll see is SOJ. This stands for Stone of Jordan. It is the most popular, well-known Diablo 2 ring, maybe even item. Some people call it a Saj, and we don't allow those people to play the game. They're banned from the channel. +1 to all skills is really its notable thing, as well as, of course, some mana and 25% increased maximum mana. But Saj is what you'll see it called. It also needs to be sold, at least as of now. I don't know if they're changing it at all, but this is what you sell to spawn Diablo clone in the game. So when enough of them get sold on the servers. So it has also been a highly duped item in the past. Next one you might see is BK. BK ring. This is just Bull Catho's wedding band. And this is just short for the other +1 to skills ring. Basically, there's 2 rings in this game that give you +1 to all skills. The Stone of Jordan and Bull Catho's wedding band. This one gives you some life, however, and some lifesteal instead of the maximum mana and mana. So just a different style, a little less popular, but still very, very solid ring that a lot of people love. Beyond this, you might see something called 4015s. And you'll see a lot of crazy combinations on all sorts of things like this, where it's just whatever things. It'll get confusing. Generally, when people are talking about stuff like this, they're talking about things like jewels. So this right here is an example of a 4015, 40% enhanced damage, 15% IAS. It is a highly sought after jewel that you can shove into weapons or into armors or whatever it is. And a lot of people love to make kind of, you can put like 4 of these into a plated, or an armor of the whale and get massive life with all of it. It's some crazy stuff that people do with it. Also, IAS is increased attack speed. ED is enhanced damage or enhanced defense. But people usually, when they say ED, are talking about enhanced damage in the game because nobody super cares about the defense unless they're talking about it with an armor or shield. After that, we have 4OS. And this as well could be 3OS, whatever, 1OS, 2OS, 1OS, 5OS, whatever it is. This is just meaning sockets, okay? This is for open socket. Ethereal as well can be shorted to eth. So for instance, this right here that you're looking at is an ethereal for open socket Colossus Volge. Somebody would call it eth4os CV. Okay? So that would be the fully shorted name of this weapon right here. And obviously there's going to be a bunch of things like CA is Cryptic Axe, CV is Colossus Volge, right? Like you'll get some of those things. That is a lot you'll eventually just have to learn because a lot of people shorten bases with all those stuff. CV is off screen. Sorry. Let me bring it on screen. There you go. Eth for open socket CV. So that's how this would be named. Okay. But yeah, the OS is open sockets. That's the important thing. After that, we have Torch. This is a unique large charm. You can only have one of them per character, and it just is in your inventory. You get this from killing Uber Tristram, which is the like endgame content of Diablo 2. If you go in there and kill them, they will drop a torch. It is a one. It's just a random roll of what the class is, and then the resistances and attributes roll from 10 to 20. So a 20/20 Paladin torch is the most desired torch. A 10/10 Barb or Necro torch or something would be like your least desired torch, right? So anyways, this is what the torch looks like right here, and that's what people say when they say have torch, anything like that. In addition to that charm, I guess I should have written torch, but in addition to that charm, we have the Annie, which is the Annihilus small charm. This is gotten from Diablo clone. So once enough SOJs get sold to vendors on the server, declone will start spawning, and that's what Diablo clone is. Declone is referred to. Declone will start spawning all over the map, or all over in different games. And I don't know how they're going to handle it in D2R. I'm not going to lie, because the way it was handled in D2 is different and required obviously different BattleNet and how the servers worked. But basically, sometimes in games, it'll say Diablo walks the earth. The first unique monster, super unique monster that you go to, he will be standing there instead. And if you kill him, he will drop this charm. Again, you can only have one of these charms in your inventory. 1 to all skills, 10 to 20 all res, 10 to 20 all attributes, and 5 to 10% experience gained. So again, you just have that similar style right there. And that is Annie. I don't have pictures for these next ones. I'm just going to say them. Baba, Source, Pally, Zon, Sin. These are just shorthand for the characters. Barbarian, Sorceress, Paladin, Amazon, and Assassin. Nobody really shortens Necro or Druid. So those ones, they'll be just said straight up. But these are going to be the shorthands. Okay, some people will say doo-doo for the Druid. I don't think anybody... I guess Necro is short for Necromancer, but you're right. I didn't even think about that. All right. And Necro. But that one, like, makes sense. Like, Baba, you're like, what? Some people say so-so for Sorceress. People like to do OOs and UUs and stuff like that. All of those things. All right. Next on the list, we have the Heart of the Oak, also known as the Hoto. This is another weapon that people will have in a flail, and it is Kovex Polthol. It's one of the rune words that is very, very common, often a best in slot or one of, like, you know, the best if you don't have those like perfect crazy items for a caster character. 3 doll skills, 40 FCR, 30 to 40 all res, some other stats, and it's just very solid. So this is often used and often desired, and people will say, looking for Hoto? Got Hoto? and they'll say something like 38 Hodo because that's how many resistances are on it, right? So a lot of times if you see something like that, it is the main stat. Same with like a torch. They'll be like 15, 19, 24, you know, Z torch, which would be a Zon torch, because a torch, you've got assassin, Amazon, right, whatever. Next up, we have, okay, not 24, I meant 14. Sorry. 1914. Z-torch. Next up, you have CTA, which is also known as call to arms. This is the, nothing will be ladder only anymore, by the way. This is probably the most common rune word that you'll see, because every single character just about is going to have a call to arms. And the reason is because it gives battle orders and battle command, also known as BC and BO, which will increase your skills and then increase the amount of life and mana for you and your party. So everybody except a barbarian is going to have this weapon, because barbarians obviously have battle command and battle orders. And so this is always on your offhand. You carry it with the spirit, which is just the spirit rune word. And yeah, you just swap to your weapon swap, shout, increase your battle order, or increase your just life and mana from that, and then swap back to your main hand and can go around for a few minutes till you have to do it again. Yeah, it goes up to 6 battle orders. 664 is a perfect CTA. So you'll see people often, but people mostly just care about the battle orders. So you'll see 3 bow CTA, 1 bow CTA, 5 bow CTA, 5-3 CTA, things like that. People really don't care about anything except the battle orders, though, mostly. A little bit battle command sometimes. Okay. Next on our list is the one, the only, I know it's a little small, but Enigma. And this is also just known as Enigma. For some reason, people just felt like putting the E was too much effort. This is the teleporting armor. You're going to see everybody, sure. You're going to see a lot of characters using this, because it's the only item in that game that gives you teleport. That's not like teleport charges or something. And so yeah, so you'll see that. You'll see whatever it is. This is a very common item. It is expensive. It costs a John a Burr rune, so it's not the easiest thing to get, but you will see this quite often. Beyond that, we have high rune, which is HR. Sometimes they'll say HR. Sometimes they will say high rune. They're talking about anything probably, and it varies person to person, but usually it's Vex and up. Some people would say it starts at Ohm. It's usually around here, though, that everybody is going to agree a high rune begins. Somewhere between a Vex and an Ohm. Some people like to include some of these ones. Mal, Ist are very useful still. Goal rune is useful to cube into a Vex rune. But most people say it starts right around here. So Ohm, Vex, Lo, Sur, Burja, Cham, and Zod would all be considered high runes. And then these are like half of a high rune, a third, a fourth of a high rune, things like that. They're mid to high runes there. Your low runes pretty much run for a majority of it up until you get into like these final few ones. Foul, Lim, Pol, Co, kind of in your like middle tiers. But that is going to be, that is going to be HR. You'll see a lot of things that's like, you know, P20, 20, 4, something like this. You might see something like that. I mean, a perfect 2020, paladin torch would not go for that. It'd probably go for like 41 hirons or something crazy. But they will say something along those lines. You might see a game like that. Another one that's just kind of a thing: strength, dex, vitality, energy. You'll just see like this. Nobody really talks about energy. So strength, dex, vita are what you're going to see for strength, dex, and vitality. The stats in the game. Again, going into some of the like craziness that exists. This would be a 3-20-20. It is the best small charm in the game for melees, for physical damage kind of characters. 3 max, 20 attack rate, 20 to life. You'll also see things like 25s. These are 20 to life with 5 all res. Anytime you see that 20, it's usually life. And yeah, so you'll see a variety of those things. Once again, that's just kind of all of that stuff. Another thing that you might see in the game that has nothing to do with this picture is 1 or 2. Somebody might type this just in chat. This means safe. This means not safe. So if somebody opens a portal, they'll just type a 1 because it's too much to type like, hey, the portal is safe now, come on in, or whatever it is. Or it's not safe right now. So they just really quickly go 2. And just put that in there and okay, got to wait for the 1 and then the portal is all clear. It's a nice and easy one. FHR, FRW, FCR, FBR, all of this. Faster hit recovery. Faster run walk. Faster cast rate. Faster block rate. This is just what these stand for. So that can be useful right there. MF equals magic find. You'll often see this. Hey, are you MFing? Where'd you MF that? Whatever it is. They're just asking about magic finding, which is just finding items. And your MF, there's also magic find on items. So they could be asking about the magic find on an item or how much MF does it have or whatever it is. And like I say, oftentimes you'll see things like, 50 MF Tarnhelm or something. And that is, the Tarnhelm is a unique item and it has 50% magic find. So often if there's numbers next to an item, it's usually like the item or the attribute people desire and somebody's telling you how much it has. There's also something called G rushing, which is glitch rushing. So basically, normally you would have to be level 20 to go through normal, because you have to be level 20 to kill normal ancients to get the quest, level 40 to kill nightmare ancients to get the quest, and level 60 to kill hell ancients and get the quest. But you can actually be rushed through at level 1 all the way through if you have what's called a bumper. And a bumper is somebody who is eligible to complete the quest. If you're in the party with them and you're sitting in town when they complete their ancient's quest and then kill Baal, you will get to move through still. So your ancients will fail, but then they'll kill Baal, they'll get the quest completed, and you will also get the quest completed, and then you'll be in nightmare. So this is used for glitch rushing through Act 5, Quest 6. Literally the Baal quest is what you're glitching essentially here. Will it be fixed in D2R? Maybe. Okay. DS and CB. This is going to be Deadly Strike. This is going to be Crushing Blow. Crushing Blow is a percent of monster life. Deadly strike equals % to do 2 times damage. You also have open wounds, OW, which is a chance to bleed. So the monster will bleed out and do damage over time. Does it work on PvP? Yes, but it's nerfed in PvP. So it's a dot damage over time. I guess bleeding should be described there. Yeah, it's just a damage over time. CTC is chance to cast. What's better? I mean, it just depends the situation, honestly. I don't know where to put this. How much damage is open wounds? There's a formula. You'd have to look it up. It varies based on all sorts of stuff. I'm pretty sure. Perfect. All right. There's also DR, which is damage reduction. And often people are talking about % when they're talking about DR. Nobody's really talking about, because there's also like damage reduced and magic damage reduced that exist in this game. People aren't really talking about that. When they're saying DR, they're talking about DR %, which is damage reduced %, which is a percentage of physical damage reduced. So that's usually what people are discussing there, unless they specifically say PDR, in which case, or MDR, which would be physical damage reduced and magical damage reduced. So something that's physical damage reduced would say something like physical damage reduced by 5. Or magic damage reduced by 5. And that's literally just 5 damage. Whereas the DR that people are talking about generally is damage reduced by 15%. So that's usually what they're going to be discussing. Okay. P gem is just perfect gem. This is just going to be P topaz, P ami, right? P topaz, P emerald, whatever it is. Ami is amethyst. P skull. So people will just say that stuff if they want perfect gems of some sort. PK, another one. PK is player kill. This is where somebody kills another player. Hostiling. So I'm going to PK you is I'm going to player kill you. So it could be aggressive. In terms of some trading stuff, ISO is in search of. Bin is buy it now. FG is forum gold. This is for people who use JSP. JSP, which is an offhand thing. Don't worry about it. Don't get into it. Script equals description. Do I actually have an image of this? Yes, kind of. So ignore that part of it. But essentially you have your game name, your password, and then you have a short description where you can type things. So if somebody types into the game title, like they'll say like SOJ for script, because they don't have enough room here. So then in the script it'll say like bring, lots of P gems, please. Something like that, whatever it is. So that's what you want to look for. WG equals what you got. WW equals what you want. NN equals no need. T4T equals thanks for trade. All that stuff. Ooh woo equals I think you're cute. Yeah. Okay, continuing forward, you will have skillers. So these are skillers, and it's just any charm that has a plus to skills. It could be any skill is a skiller. This right here specifically is a P skiller, or a P comb. And that's a paladin combat skiller is what that's short for. And that's because this is once again, the paladin is the most played character and the combat skiller is the most desired. So 45 life P-com is going to be your and people just say 45 even often. 45 P-com is the best skiller in the game generally. It's the most desired. And they'll say GC for grand charm, LC for large charm, SC for small charm. Let's see, continuing on. These are used by Hdens, which is short for Hammerden. There's probably a lot of character shorts overall. Hden is going to be the one that you see most often, just because Hammerdens are just the most played character probably overall in the game. Some of the areas that you might be running. We have Pindle. Pindle is going to be in Act 5. Once you save Anya, you can go and fight Pindle here. He can drop every item in the game except for 3. He cannot drop Tyrael's Might, Arachnid Mesh, or Azurath Blade. Other than that, he can drop every item in the game, and he is very close and easy to kill. So some people do Pindle runs or whatever it is. Additionally, you'll have tomb runs. I don't know if I have a picture for tombs. I don't think so. Tomb runs are just the Act 2, the tombs at the end. People run through those. Obviously, you have cows. Cow runs are used for leveling until level 25 usually. Sometimes people go a little further, but to get to 25, so then they could start doing Bale runs, where you start killing. That's right, Bale. You'll also see Trist runs, and this is where you're doing Tristram, this is the Act 1 Tristram, but where's that Act 2? That's Act 2. But Tristram is the place in Act 1 when you save Cain, or where you go and save Cain. And then you'll also have, you'll also have CS. Ignore the picture for now. You'll also have CS, which is Chaos Sanctuary. So people will do CS runs all the time. Trav is short for Travancore, and that's the Act 3. You'll see people sometimes talk about need Trav help or something like that. At the end of Act 3 there, before you get into Mephisto. NG, when you're running through, equals next game or new game. But essentially, if you're in Tombs-11, when you're finishing it up, the person will say NG, and then you all leave, and then you go join Tombs 12. Okay. There's also C Bales. You might see these. This is Chaos and Bale. So first you do Chaos as a group, then you go and you kill Bale as a group, then you do the new game. Forge is the Hellforge. This is the quest in Act 4. And you'll see people say rush for Forge. Very common. People will rush you through the whole game, but at the very end, they're going to take your Hellforge. You give them the rune that drops. That's all they care about is the rune. They don't care about anything else. So if you drop an ist rune, it's theirs. If you drop a garbage rune, you drop like a ko or whatever, then like that's what they get. So they're kind of chancing it. Sometimes they'll want the P gem as well. Sometimes you just give them whatever they want from it, and you can have the rest after that. But that's what Rush for Forge is. So people are just kind of rushing you through and trying to make a little bit of profit by doing so. Beyond that, you also have LK runs. These are lower crust runs. I have a whole video on how to do lower crust runs. Tele is short for teleport. Very obvious, right? Muling is creating characters just to hold gear. So, hey, I need to mule this really fast means I need to get some of this gear onto just a level 1 character or just a whatever character to hold it so I can free up space for myself. Charcy is a NPC in Act 1. But if you're asking the value of something and you're like, hey, is this worth anything? And somebody says Charcy, they're saying it's worth the gold that Charcy will give you for it. So Charcy or Charcy food. Yeah. Charcy is a way to say, no, it's not really worth anything. BM versus GM, that's just bad manner, good manner. So using Sorb, which is absorb, in like duels can be BM if you put too much of it on. Like if I'm a fire source and you put on Nokazins and 2 dwarf rings, I'm not going to be able to touch you, or rising sun, I should say, and 2 dwarf rings. I'll do 0 damage. And Hotspurs, I'll do 0 damage to you. In fact, I'll heal you. That would be considered bad manner dueling right there. WP equals well played. You can say WP or GG after a duel. And then you'll often see stuff like this given to you. This is game name, llama 1, password 123. WP is also waypoint. This is true. WP also waypoint. So the way that Diablo people say this is just slashes between the game and the password. Yeah. And I guess then PP and TP. PP equals party please. They're asking for you to add them to the party. And TP is town portal. They want you to open a portal so they can come join you. So when people come in the game, they'll often say PP. And then when you party them, they'll often say TP. So, just small things. Anyways, that's about it. I think that covers all of the, not all of it, but that covers a lot of the basic lingo that you're going to have in the game. Beyond that, I mean, there's still plenty of small things. I'm sure there's still more items and more whatever stuff and all of that that you will find, but that should get you started. You should be near a pro going into the game with all of that. And I guess the last thing is if somebody tells you to type /D&D and then your account and your password, don't do it. Just don't. It's a hack. They're going to scam you. Not a hack, it's just a scam. /D&D equals do not disturb. It turns do not disturb mode on so people can't message you. But if you put something after /D&D, that's just a message. Hello, I'm busy right now. And then when they try and whisper you, they'll get that message. So, anyways, I hope that was useful. Thanks for watching. Welcome to D2. Peace, D2.